6 knockouts, 1 submission, 2 decisions. Is Cameron Saaiman any good? What better way to kick off my UFC bantamweight playlist than with a scrappy young talent in desperate need of a win this weekend, Cameron Saaiman. For the record, I have no affiliation with Peyton Talbot whatsoever. I'm just a huge fan. I just like to make that clear as early as possible before I speak on the entirety of Cameron's career and his current skid. Bantamweight got a bunch of talented young guns these past few years, and it's time to find out who's really worthy of reaching the mountaintop. Even my boy Peyton got gatekept by a 42-year-old. What even is MMA at this point? Saaiman is an interesting case, possessing a ton of cage time at such a young age. He also trains at Team CIT, alongside middleweight champion Dricus Du Plessis. While ultra-talented, he hasn't had a win since the summer of 2023, so I feel like it's the perfect time to check out his style, just in case his career goes south and he's cut from the promotion. I hope not. Let's look at his official stats, fighting style, and career highlights of MSP, the most savage player. Cameron Saaiman, a South African scrapper with great cardio and top-tier coaching. Strike accuracy, 47%. Strikes landed per minute, 5.3. Cameron throws a ton of good volume, but a lot of it falls short of the target and doesn't leave a lasting impact. Strikes absorbed per minute, 4.1. Takedown average, 0.9. See, he is pretty well-rounded and isn't afraid of going for control, but I'd say his ground skills are still a bit raw. Submission average, 0.6. Takedown accuracy, 29%. This is what I mean. Strike defense, 52%. Takedown defense, 47%. Again, he's a kickboxer at heart, and his opponents know this. Cameron's debut, he was taken down 5 times, and another 3 by C-Rod. Knockdown average, 0.4. This could definitely be higher. Average fight time, 10 minutes, 56 seconds. And this is how Cameron Saaiman is most likely to win a fight. What we've seen so far work for Saaiman is a nice amount of forward pressure backed up with consistent volume. Whether it be punches or kicks, he packs enough grit and scrap in him to break weaker opponents to a finish, or win on the cards with more output. Strengths are great cardio, a great student, and good volume. Weaknesses are weak against raw power and poor takedown defense. Cameron Saaiman is still very green in his career, and you really need to be something special if you are going to learn and grow while competing in the UFC. But coming from Team CIT and getting in good work there from such a young age, they should have him ready for all comers. He has good wins over strikers and grapplers, albeit against the bottom feeders. Cameron began with kickboxing, and made the transition into MMA, a sport with tiny gloves, as opposed to 16-ounce gloves. It seemed he had some holes in his defense that my boy Talbot capitalized on. Also, his wrestling is still a work in progress. He's a great scrambler, but 135 has some yoked contenders that will definitely want to take him down and look for control. But I'm not too worried about Cameron. Young fighters usually bounce back big after their first career setback, and his first pro loss, Christian Rodriguez, missed weight by like 5 pounds, and Cameron still competed very well in that fight. It's the Talbot loss that was much more concerning. Best performance is his decision loss to Christian Rodriguez. Cameron fought the heavier man in this fight and fell short, being slightly outstruck and slightly outcontrolled. But it was a crazy-paced fight and a ton of fun to watch. Cameron has awesome cardio and was pushing for the win until the final bell, and you could tell they were both becoming really fatigued. C-Rod won, but clearly didn't belong in the weight class, so this didn't drop Saaiman's stock as much as people think it did. Most fun is his KO win over Joshua Wang Kim. This was Saaiman's explosive entry into the Contender Series, where he had an underrated striking bout against a karate style in Kim. It was a good leg kick battle, but Saaiman still carries heat in his hands late into the fight and slumped Kim out cold with a left hook. He sellied in front of Dana White and swiftly got his contract. Saaiman is a little bit of a slow starter, in my opinion. He likes to kick the lead leg for a bit against larger opponents, and he prefers to glide around for a little bit, collect the points. He doesn't force anything. He'll wait for a weakness to open up, and then he'll go for it. Let's get into his UFC career, starting with his finishes over Stephen Kozlow and Terrence Mitchell. Now, I'll keep it real with you guys. These are bottom feeders, but Saaiman did outclass them in 2 very different ways. Against Kozlow, he pushed a great pace and rolled with him for a bit until he burnt Kozlow out. The finish came shortly thereafter by vicious ground and pound. Terrence Mitchell started fast and was looking to finish Cameron, but he secured a takedown, threatened with a choke attempt, and then found mount and again got himself a TKO win by ground and pound. I've seen his loss to Peyton Talbot plenty by this point, and I want to do a deep dive on this loss of his. Talbot's forward pressure is suffocating for everybody, and Cameron wasn't liking it one bit. It forced him into a brawl with the bigger man, and he started getting countered hard in the pocket. I don't know how, but Cameron survived a flush knee to the neck from Peyton. Don't know how he survived that, it sounded like a belt cracking. Then, at the start of the second round, Talbot check-hooked him out cold and pounced on him for a finish. And with that, that's 2 losses in a row for Cameron. Now, I hope he comes out and looks amazing in this bounce back this weekend. We see a lot of the top fighters get finished in their early career and then go on a crazy winning streak afterwards because they learn from it and they make the right adjustments in the gym. And there are a lot of crappy gyms out there, but CIT isn't one of them. I trust they have taken him back to the drawing board and leveled him up big time, because the bantamweight division is ruthless. Cameron Saaiman brings into the cage a fast-paced, scrappy fight style, involving beautiful kickboxing, footwork, and refuses to be held down on the ground. At 24 years of age and 11 pro bouts, he's got a lot to learn, but is part of an elite team in South Africa who will continue to level him up, I believe. Maybe he should take a page out of DDP's book and start going a little goofy. He fights newcomer Malcolm Wellmaker this weekend, and it's do or die for him. He needs to build momentum this summer, and I think he will. He was real close to reaching the top 15 before these setbacks, but something tells me he'll be sticking around for a while. Cameron Saaiman is C tier, for now. As always, thank you for watching and caring about the sport. Comment your favorite Cameron Saaiman moment down below. MMA makes no fucking sense, but I'm out here trying to put it all together. Until next time.